All right, just gonna get started with a few brief housekeeping announcements. So my name is Claire Ladd. I'm the Programs and Services Manager at the Massachusetts Council of Nonprofits. Thank you all for joining us today for this webinar. Just a few items before we dig into the content. We will have recording and slides from today's program emailed to you afterwards, so please keep an eye on your email in the next few days for that. And if you have any questions during the presentation, you can submit them by the chat or Q&A function. We'll make sure to have time for questions. And if there's any questions for me, for MCN related things, I'm happy to keep an eye on those, drop those in the chat as well. Just to give a little background about us here at MCN, our three goals are to strengthen the nonprofit sector through advocacy, public awareness, and capacity building services. And we offer these regular webinars in partnership with our affiliate members as part of our capacity building efforts. So please stay tuned for future topics and let us know if there's any topics you'd like to see. And our efforts are made possible by more than 600 member organizations. So to those of you who are members, thank you so much for your partnership. And if you have not yet joined the network, but would like to take advantage of benefits such as networking, trainings, cost savings, etc., please visit macouncilofnonprofits.org/join to find out more. For today's webinar, it's titled Payroll Panic, a live cyber attack simulation, presented by Mike Wilfred of CTS. So thanks so much for being here, and I will hand it over to Mike to get started.
Thanks, Claire. I appreciate it. So my name is Mike Wilfred. I'd like to welcome everyone to Payroll Panic. Today is going to be an interactive live simulation, and over the next 60 minutes, we're going to do a tabletop exercise together, and you'll watch a fictional nonprofit leadership team work through a realistic cyber attack scenario. And you, as the audience, will vote in real time on how you think they should handle it. So today, we are going to go through brief introductions, then the actual live attack simulation, followed by a debrief on what we went through, and finally ending in a Q&A. So intros to start. So we're strangers, so you and I don't know one another. So just to introduce myself, CTS, or Chartered Technology Solutions, we are a managed service provider, and we provide managed services in the form of ongoing cybersecurity services, break-fix service to nonprofits, project management, as well as a slew of other services, advisory services, design and build-out services for nonprofits, schools, and small businesses. CTS as a whole, we're based in Brooklyn, New York. We've been around for this year would be 16 years, and our clients span across the U.S. as far north as Vermont, as far south as Georgia, and as far west as Washington. We are an organization of about 100 folks, US-based staff, with a small number of staff in the Philippines, maybe about 5, because we provide 24/7 cybersecurity service. So that allows us to monitor services for our clients round the clock. This is our founder and CEO, Sachin. We are very active in the nonprofit space. So with our clients and folks who aren't our clients, we tend to follow what they're doing, and we want to be part of their efforts and their mission. So we often attend events. We donate to our clients to support their mission. We're very active, and CTS encourages CTS employees and staff to be active in their community. So we even provide community service hours in the form of PTO, so folks can stay active within their individual communities. This is a groundbreaking at Peace Academy. It's a charter school in Atlanta, Georgia, that recently opened. We assisted them with design. We have an internship program each summer where folks within the New York area and Jersey area, um, students come in and they learn about CTS and get hands-on training. It's a paid internship for those students, and they stay during the summer. Sometimes they come summer after summer, and a few have actually been hired by CTS over the years. We're very proud of that. This is our interns in our warehouse. As you can imagine, we support schools, so summers are very busy for us. So that's a great picture of the warehouse during the summer. And this brings us to our interactive portion. So what I'd like everyone to do, if you have your phones, take the opportunity to pull out your phone and scan this QR code. You won't have to download an app or anything. It opens within your web browser. And I just want to test this out, and you let me know what brought you here today. This is completely anonymous, so I don't see who is responding to the questions. So as that comes in, and if you have any issues, feel free to type in the chat or let me know if you're able to speak, and I'll help you out the best I can. So one person says, "Hey, someone I know has dealt with this before. It was awful." Yeah, we hear that quite a bit. You're curious about the topic? Yep, perfect. Genuine concern about cybersecurity at your organization? Love that. So nobody needed a nap and figured they'd join a webinar to get their nap in. I was really hoping that somebody would choose that, and if you're having issues, it looks like we have, yep, 6 folks are voting. Thank you. We'll wait for a few more. And as we go through and we're waiting for folks to submit some votes, this portion of once you download this, once you open up the web browser and you've scanned the QR code, you just stay on that web browser, and as we go through the scenario, it'll update live. So you won't have to refresh or anything. It'll change as we go through. So you'll only have to scan this QR code this one time. And if for some reason you missed it this go around, it'll appear on every other slide where you need to scan a QR code. So no worries if you miss this one. I'm going to wait a few more seconds. And I apologize if you're typing in the chat that you're having issues. I may not be seeing it immediately, so.
I can definitely keep an eye out for that.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it, Claire. All right. Yeah, so it looks like we're split down the middle between a genuine concern and curiosity, which is a great place to start. Some folks have even know someone who's dealt with this anecdotally. Our next slide, which you should see on your screen, is how confident are you that your organization knows how to respond in the event of a cybersecurity breach? Somewhat confident, never really tested it. That's really normal, actually. Not confident at all. Yep. Yep, lack of formal response plan. Yep, also for nonprofits of varying sizes, that's also normal. You have so many priorities that this may not be at the top of your to-do list, so that's really normal. Some folks have an incident response plan, and if it's picking up dust somewhere, they did it and they put it in a drawer and it's sitting there. So that's also fairly normal. All right, folks. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your votes. Maybe asking the wrong person. Okay. All right, solid. No worries. All right, we're going to move on here. So let's get to the live simulation portion. Today, I'll be your facilitator. A little background on me. I've been with the company for about 6 years. I live in Hartford, Connecticut. I'm a fervent believer in nonprofits. I also serve on the local board of a community health center here in my town. I grew up in Hartford, and nonprofits played a big role in providing resources for my family, whether it be food or services, help at school, school supplies, all the things. So I have a real passion about for nonprofits. They provide so much dignity to populations that need the resources. So truly appreciate you guys. Today, outside of being the facilitator, um, we're going to go through live tabletop scenario, and the subject company is made up. You can Google it. They don't exist. I checked. The Vakita Foundation. So the Vakita Foundation is dedicated to protecting the vaquita, right? So the vaquita is the world's smallest and most endangered marine mammal. And everything that happens to them today is based on real attack patterns that we see across the nonprofit sector. Alexis Morgan is going to be the ED or executive director. She owns the reputation, employee trust, board accountability, and she has a final call on every major decision you'll see here today. Jason is the IT director. He owns like detection, containment, evidence. He's like the technical truth for what's actually happening behind the scenes. So you'll hear from Jason throughout. All right. If for this presentation does have audio as we go through the scenario. So during each scene of the scenario, there are about 8 scenes, you'll hear some audio. And once the audio is complete, there may be a poll based on the audio that you heard. If you, for some reason, you're unable to hear it, just let us know in the chat. Just make sure your volume is turned up, and we'll get started here. All right, so scene 1, it takes place on Wednesday at 8:45, and the Vakita Foundation, it's a normal Wednesday morning. There's nothing dramatic about it. It's just what a normal day looks like, and they're 3 days out from their biggest fundraiser of the year.
Good morning, Jason. Payroll's due to be submitted today, right? Want to make sure we're on track? I don't want to.
Folks, are you able to hear that? Just hit me with a thumbs up or a down or yes or no in the chat, just quickly. No. Okay. Yes. Yes. Okay, great. All right. I'll play it back.
Repeat. Good morning, Jason. Payroll's due to be submitted today, right? Want to make sure we're on track? I don't want a repeat of those late deposits from last quarter.
Morning, Alexis. Yup. Finance should have payroll reviewed and submitted to our provider by end of day for Friday's direct deposits. On my end, overnight monitoring looked normal.
Good.
I checked with the team. We didn't send anything this week about direct deposit verification.
That's a red flag, you guys. If it wasn't from HR, someone spoofed it.
Did Alexis make the right call? Is a quiet investigation the right move, or do you think they should do something a bit different first? All right, thank you. Yep, alert all employees to possible phishing. Pause payroll immediately as a precaution. We'll wait a few more moments. We have 7 votes in. Wait for more confirmation before taking action. I'll wait about 5 more seconds if anyone else wants to vote. All right, solid. So here, leadership only has a report from one employee at this point, right? So only, and even though that's concerning, the larger scope is still unknown. So pausing payroll or alerting everyone before understanding the situation risk, it may cause a necessary panic and could tip off whoever the attacker is. So we're going to give it to Alexis on this one, that we're going to say, yep, she made the right move here, to quietly begin an investigation, have the IT director look into it, trace the email, find out who received it, checked for compromised credentials before saying, hey, staff, we have a really large issue. But all of these other answers, alerting all the employees, I definitely can see why you folks would select that in this specific scenario. And I'm guessing it's one of those things where you want to be as transparent as possible, as quickly as possible. And that's why folks are selecting that, which makes a lot of sense here. All right, it's about 30 minutes or so later. So Jason, he's had about 35 minutes to dig into what's going on, and what he finds turns one employee's concern into something a bit larger. Let's find out.
Alexis got results from the mail server. The phishing email went to 14 employees Monday morning. The sender address was spoofed to look like our HR director, but the headers show it came from an external domain, vakitafoundation.org, but with a 0 instead of the letter O.
14 people got it. That's a bigger group than I was expecting. How many of them actually clicked the link?
Based on the logs, at least 4 employees entered their credentials on the phishing page. Those logins happened Monday evening into Tuesday.
So someone's had access to 4 of our employees' email accounts for almost 2 days? That's a long window for someone to poke around undetected. I need to understand exactly what they could have seen or done with that kind of access.
That's what it looks like. We don't have MFA enabled on email, so the stolen passwords were enough to get in. I can see the attacker access their inboxes.
What could they have gotten to through those accounts? I'm thinking about donor information, financial records, anything tied to the gala. Walk me through the worst case scenario.
Anything in those inboxes and sent folders, internal communications, attachments, contacts. What worries me more is what else they've done with those credentials. If any of those employees reuse passwords elsewhere, the attacker could have tried those systems too.
All right, so now at this point, we know there's a breach. We know it's more than one employee that's been impacted, and but we're not super clear on where the tentacles have gone within the organization, what all the things that he may have had access to. So now, it was 9:50. It's 10:10 a.m. now, and Jason's chasing everything on the email side, and finance is running their own numbers independently, and what they find kind of changes the shape of the entire incident.
Alexis, Jason, since the issues last quarter, our payroll provider's been sending us weekly reports. Something's off. Several employees' direct deposit profiles were changed between Monday night and Tuesday. The last 4 digits on all the updated account numbers match. So we're thinking the funds are all headed to the same account. These changes went through the employee self-service portal.
Has payroll gone out yet? I need to know if we're still able to stop this before it hits anyone's account.
Not yet. We caught this during final review. If we hadn't looked closely, it would have gone through with today's automated submission.
Jason, my gut says this is connected to the phishing email. Is that realistic, or am I jumping to conclusions?
Almost certainly. The attacker likely used the stolen email credentials to get into the payroll portal. A lot of employees reuse passwords across systems. The timing lines up. Phishing email, Monday, credentials compromised Monday evening, payroll changes Monday night into Tuesday.
All right. So at this point that we come to our second poll. So what should happen now? They've determined that there's someone in the system. There's a payroll breach as well. And what should happen with payroll right now? Should they stop everything immediately and do not submit until an investigation is complete? Or submit payroll as scheduled, or contact the bank? What does the crowd think here? All right, so two folks are like, hey, let's contact the bank and the payroll provider before deciding to determine what our options are. Okay. Three folks are all on the same page. They're like, yep, 100%. Let's call the bank. Let's figure out what our options are. For four people. Okay, this is a very popular answer. Six, okay. All right, contact the bank. Wait a few more seconds here. Seven, okay. I'm sensing a trend. All right. And here we go. One, submit payroll as scheduled after reverting the suspicious changes because employees need to get paid on time. All right, here. So thanks for the submissions here. The majority does have it. Yes, contacting the bank. Finance has already flagged suspicious changes and payroll hasn't gone out yet. So the priority is to understand what's actually possible. Like, can the changes be reverted? Can the self-service access be frozen or pending transactions be held? Like, getting that information first rather than submitting or halting payroll, that may lead to the best outcome to kind of figure out what the options are. So thanks, folks. Much appreciated. So this brings us to scene 5. So 20 minutes after the payroll discovery, the team learns how much of this has already happened without anyone noticing.
We've been on with our payroll provider. One of the modified accounts had a change we missed. A one-time supplemental payment of $350 went through the self-service portal Tuesday, already processed. It went to that same updated account we found earlier. The provider says once an ACH transfer initiates, clawing it back is tough.
So we've already lost money. Even if it's just $350, that's real funds out the door. And it tells me this isn't just a close call anymore. I need to know if there's more we haven't found yet.
Looks like it. At least $350. We're working with the provider now to check for anything else we missed and freeze pending changes.
Alexis, one more thing. While I was digging through the compromised email accounts, I found the attacker downloaded attachments from at least 2 of them. I can't see exactly what was in those inboxes, but these are program staff, so it's likely internal documents, spreadsheets, maybe employee or beneficiary information.
This is bigger than payroll, isn't it? If they got into an inbox with documents like that, we could be looking at a real data exposure issue on top of the financial loss. I need to know how bad this actually is.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I need to work with HR and finance to figure out what sensitive information those employees actually had sitting in their email.
All right. So things are slowly escalating here. Let's go to scene 6.
We went through the compromised accounts. One of them belongs to our office manager, who regularly handles onboarding documents by email. We found W-4s, copies of I-9s, and direct deposit authorization forms for current and former employees sitting in her inbox. That included names, home addresses, social security numbers, and bank details. It looks like up to 43 current employees and 12 former employees could be exposed.
I may lose all of my hair today. 55 people, social security numbers, and bank details are potentially in an attacker's hands. That's not a number I can sit with quietly. These are people who trusted us with their information.
The access logs show the attacker opened and downloaded attachments from that account over several hours on Tuesday.
Okay, this just went from a payroll issue to a full breach. What are our legal obligations right now?
Under most state breach notification laws, if Social Security numbers were exposed, we're likely required to notify affected individuals within a set window. We need legal counsel on this immediately.
Get our attorney on the phone, and I need to call the board chair. How did we not catch this sooner?
Honestly, I don't have the capacity or the tools for this. Standard antivirus wasn't going to catch something like this. We'd need something more advanced, like endpoint or managed detection and response systems.
All right. So things have escalated pretty quickly. It went from, at the beginning of the morning, it went from, hey, something looks weird, to emails, someone changing, putting in login information and then reporting it to HR. Then it became a payroll problem. Then it became like a PII exposure problem because of information in mailboxes. So at this point, we come to scene 7. So here, 10 minutes later, the outside world starts to find out before leadership is in a position to dispel and provide that information.
Alexis, your reporter from the local news outlet, emailed asking if we're investigating a payroll breach. And one of our employees posted on social media that their paycheck info was changed without their knowledge, and they're worried about identity theft.
How is this already out? We only found out a couple hours ago.
One of the 4 affected employees probably mentioned it to a coworker. Word travels fast around the office, and it only takes one post.
We're not ready to go public. We don't even have the full picture yet, and I won't put out something we'll have to walk back later. Give me a minute to think about how we handle this.
Understood. But staying silent right now could make it worse. If employees hear about this on social media before they hear it from us, we lose their trust. And if the reporter runs with the employee's post, we're responding to someone else's version of the story.
You're right, but I can't go to the press and say we lost people's social security numbers before I've even talked to the board or our attorney. And if this really is, we owe it to our donors and clients to handle it right. Canceling the gala would be devastating.
So now we come to our third decision point. So how should leadership respond publicly right now? Seems an employee has posted on social media. They're getting calls. Their communications department is getting calls from news stations asking for a comment. What do you think the best next steps are? Okay, focus on internal communication first by addressing employees directly before responding to the media. Okay. Issue a brief statement that we're investigating a security concern with no specific details. Say nothing publicly until all the facts are confirmed and legal counsel has weighed in. Thank you, folks. All right, so votes seem to be in here. If you still like to vote, feel free. So the any one of these could be the right answer, if you will. But the best answer here is definitely to focus on the internal communication first by addressing it with the employees. It's their pay, it's their personal data, it's their trust that's on the line, and they should hear from leadership first before the media does. Just in a short, honest internal message that acknowledges, like, hey, there's an incident, and we're committing to updates, and we'll update you as we go. And for the media, a brief hold line is enough for until you get more information on the entire picture. So it would go employees, internal communication first, and then yes, definitely a brief statement or a 1 or 2 liner to the media. Thank you all. All right, so now we're at scene 8. So scene 8 is the final decision point of the simulation. And to be honest, it's the hardest one. Everything the team has learned over the last 2.5 hours comes down to this single point.
Alexis, the attacker still has working
Oh, let's try again.
credentials. I can disable the compromised accounts right now. It'll take 5 minutes and cause minimal disruption. But if there are accounts I haven't found yet, they'd still have access. The only way to guarantee they're locked out is a full password reset for all 43 employees.
What does that mean operationally? Walk me through what the team would actually experience if we go that route. I need to understand the real costs.
Everyone loses access to email, files, and cloud apps until they reset, roughly 4 hours before we're fully back online.
The gala's Saturday. Development is still confirming a few last-minute sponsors, coordinating with vendors, and running the auction all through email. We can't afford a half-day shutdown right now. And if we're down until end of day, we can't afford the overtime it's going to take to catch back up.
I get it, but every minute those credentials stay active, the attacker could be pulling more data or building another way back in. Our logs are already preserved, so we won't lose evidence. We'll lose time.
So it's the gala or the organization. That's really what this comes down to, isn't it? I don't like either option.
All right. So at the end here, the attacker's still in there where there are a bunch of small fires happening everywhere. And the entire time the attacker is still in the system. And we have to make a decision at this point. Do we fully lock down and force every employee to reset their password to get that attacker out? Do we do a surgical lockdown and disable only 4 or so? Do a phased approach, or we defer the decision? What do you guys think? I think we're kind of split down the middle here. Do we have anyone else to break the tie, if you will? Still split down the middle. Nice surgical lockdown. Yep. Disable only the 4 known compromised accounts. No disruption. All right. Thanks. So let's a few more votes. All right. So we're at 50. So here, no one chose defer the decision, which makes a lot of sense. A lot's happening. The attacker's in there. You have to do something. You can't defer any longer. With the phased approach, that typically you're disabling the 4 known accounts immediately, but again, you don't know how many other accounts have been impacted. So you may still leave room for the attacker to still be in your system if you only disable the 4 that you actually know. The surgical lockdown, yep, disabling the 4 compromised accounts, minimal disruption. And I'm sorry, the phased approach is disabling the 4 known accounts immediately and then rolling it out. So as you roll it out, you run the risk of the attacker still being in and be able to make changes and traverse your network and your environment, even as you're doing the phase approach. So the best solution here in this specific scenario is a full lockdown, to simply reset everyone's password and have the attacker out completely. So let's review. It's a lot happened within those 7 to 8 scenes. So just to summarize here, on Monday, an attacker sent a phishing email that was spoofed to look like it came from an HR director, so people trusted it. 14 or so employees received it, and 4 entered their credentials on the fake login page. because the Kita Foundation didn't have multi-factor authentication or email on their email address, those stolen credentials were enough for them to log in. Now, the attacker reused those same credentials to log into the payroll provider self-service portal. Apparently, some employees use the same password on multiple websites and applications. So that one password was able to log in, was enough to log into the payroll provider's website. They changed direct deposit information for 5 employees, and they also pushed through a fraudulent $350 payment before anyone caught it. So through one compromised account, they also got into onboarding documents that held like social security numbers and bank details for several employees and former employees. And the whole thing surfaced on Wednesday morning, which was payroll submission day, when an employee reported a suspicious email, and finance independently spotted those anomalies during the payroll review. So a lot happened within, to be honest, I'm happy this portion's over. Every time we go through this portion of the scenario, my heart beats a little faster because I'm stressed out just going through it because it's a lot happening all at once. So I can only imagine how the folks on the other end who were in the webinar are like, oh my gosh, this is a lot happening all at once. So a final poll to the folks here. Would your organization be prepared to make these sort of decisions on the fly today? Do you fall into any of these categories? Yep. You can, but you need to refine the plan, conduct a bit more training. Yeah, I get that. Not sure. You may have some pieces in place, but never tested them. Yep, you have a plan, but there may be some gaps that need to be filled or plugged. Yeah, I can understand that. Wait a few more seconds for some more feedback. And thanks for your responses, everyone. And there's no wrong answer here, by the way. It's simply where you are today. So you have a benchmark and a foundation that you can build off of later. All right. Thank you, folks. All right. So now we went over the scenario. I'd like to go into our debrief section. So let's talk about essentially what this means to you. All right. So we're going to go through 4 pillars here. So the first pillar would be identity. So in our simulation, like one phishing email led to 4 sets of stolen credentials because there wasn't anything as simple as multi-factor authentication on the email. And just to clarify, MFA would be an example of MFA would be when you log in with your password, it would ask you for a secondary token or PIN or a one-time password where you would get via email or a text on your phone or through a third-party sort of authentication application. So that would be MFA. So they didn't have MFA. That one thing being put in place would have negated probably a great deal of what happened in this scenario. It's a second lock on the door, if you will. But anyway, from there, they also were reusing passwords. So the attacker just walked right into the payroll system. And it's not a rare mistake, right? Like it's a default state that a lot of small organizations may run into, right? And so it's great to enforce MFA on every system and provide conditional access policies that block logins from unexpected countries. So for instance, if you're a US-based organization and you don't know of anyone who's traveling and someone logs in from, I don't know, Germany or Costa Rica or anywhere else outside of the US, it would be great to block that immediately or have it blocked automatically from an unexpected country or even an unmanaged device. The second pillar here is detection and response. So Jason said himself in the simulation that he didn't have the tools or the capacity to catch this early when Alexis acts like, hey, why didn't we catch this? Right. And that's the reality of most IT directors because they're wearing 5 hats within your organization and you may have like standard antivirus and it's not meant to catch like credential-based attacks like this one. You need something a bit more advanced like endpoint detection or response. And you would pair that and what the difference between your standard antivirus, by the way, and endpoint detection and response is your standard antivirus. Every single day, that antivirus depends on what's called definitions being downloaded on a daily basis. Those definitions tell your antivirus what to look for on your network. Endpoint detection and response is more advanced. It uses a bit of AI and machine learning to detect behavior on your computer that seems odd or out of place or anomalous. So, for instance, someone's moving a lot of files and deleting them, right? It's going to flag something like that automatically with an EDR or MDR solution. It also tracks things like impossible logins. So we spoke about travel later. An impossible login would be something similar to you are in New York or you're in Mass. Let's say you're in Boston, Mass today, and it's 9 a.m. and you log in. And then within 2 hours, you're logging in from Vietnam, right? It would flag something like that because there's no way you got from Boston to Vietnam within 2 hours, right? So it blocks something like that and it monitors it 24/7. So the Vikita Foundation didn't find out about the breach from their security tools if it wasn't for that honest employee who called in and just said, hey, I got a gut feeling I did something wrong. They were lucky there that the employee did that. And it speaks to the Vikita Foundation because that employee felt safe enough to be like, hey, I made a mistake. I think I made a mistake. Let me let you know about it. And I think it's also important that organizations not penalize their staff for these sort of events where they come forward and say, hey, I think I did something wrong. I want to report it. Now, if they're doing that over and over again, I'll leave that up to you guys. But for something to happen once with an employee, it's great that they felt open enough to talk about it. So the third pillar here is data protection and process controls. So this is the part that turned a payroll incident into a full breach, right? They had W-4s, I-9s, direct deposit forms for like 55 people that were sitting in like an employee's inbox. And I'm not saying it's anyone on this call or on this webinar, but I'm sure you can imagine, think of all the confidential data that you've received within your mailbox that was not deleted and is still sitting there in a different folder somewhere, right? That happens often, especially in a nonprofit organization. You're constantly moving, and you have some folks have volunteers, and you're short staffed, and you have so many people wearing so many of the same or different hats, trying to serve a community and keep everything afloat. So things like this can be easily overlooked because it's just easier to move it to a different mailbox. So securing document management for HR files, having encryption on anything that's sensitive, having role-based access, so only people whose job it is to see a certain document see it. That's really important. And having dual authorization for payroll changes. That means like no single person and no single stolen password can move the money around. So having that dual authorization for payroll would have probably stopped that fraudulent $350 charge earlier. Folks, I know we're low on time, so I'm going to run through this here because I do want to at least get a couple questions and provide you with the incident response plan. This is a governance and human layer. So every technical control and the first three pillars depends on people. And people are what actually caught this, right? And so it was an employee that felt uneasy, like I mentioned, that mentioned it. So it comes from ongoing security awareness training and phishing simulations that give people real practice and not just some annual video that everyone yawns and clicks through, right? So it almost comes from exercising, doing exercises kind of like this one here with your organization that primes them so they know what to look for. And so what's an incident response plan as a whole? So an incident response plan is not a technical document. It's not super techy. It's a decision-making framework for exactly the kind of pressure you just watched Alexis and Jason go through. Like they were trying to handle this all in real time. They didn't have a source of truth that says, if this, then that, right? It answers 5 questions like who declares an incident? Who needs to be in the room immediately, who the decision makers are, who is the authority to shut systems down, who communicates internally, externally. All that is done within your incident response plan. And we discussed these core components of an effective incident response plan. I'm going to slide past that one. And here I want to share how you can start building an incident response plan. And here, to start building one, it starts, if you don't have one yet, right? This is a great place to start, right? You'll identify your response team, you'll define who has decision authority over each system, document critical systems, and so forth, right? You can scan this QR code. It should take you to a free document that you can download in order to provide you with a framework to start thinking through an incident response plan. If you don't have an opportunity to scan this now, no worries. This will be shared with you after the webinar. So I'd like to give an opportunity for a Q&A. I know we have about 4 minutes or so. So if anyone has any questions, if you want to post it in the chat, I'll be happy to answer. I know it's a lot of information. It's like drinking from a fire hose. So, okay. All right. So anyone in there clear that I'm not seeing?
I can't see either.
Okay, got it. David says, I'm still uneasy with the delay between the time that it was determined that the HR email was a phishing campaign and the time when employees were notified. Can you talk us through that decision a bit more? David, you're spot on here. So this really goes back to the leadership team. This is the first time they've experienced something like this. So they were making all of these decisions on the fly. They didn't know what to do, and information was coming in bit by bit and was escalating. And all of this happened, keep in mind, within a 3-hour time frame. I couldn't imagine coming in on a Wednesday and within 3 hours being bombarded with all of this. But that's why they truly, I think you're right that folks should have been notified a bit sooner. By the time they didn't have all the information, and an incident response plan would have helped them map that out and talk through that a bit. That's a great question, though. Yeah, I would be uneasy too. You're not wrong. All right, folks. That brings us to our closing poll here. At the start of the session, I simply asked, hey, how confident are you that your organization knows how to respond in the event of a cybersecurity breach? And has your answer changed between when we started and now? You feel about the same? You're more confident? You're less confident? You weren't sure then, and you still don't know now? You know what to look for. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I completely see that. Remains unchanged. All right, thank you, folks. I appreciate that. So that brings us to the conclusion, and we're right at 12. So I just want to say a deep thank you for everyone taking the time out today. My contact information is here on the screen. So if there are any questions that you didn't want to ask publicly and you'd like to shoot me an email, feel free. My mobile and office number is there as well. Big thank you to MCN for hosting this. I really do hope everyone found value here and could take something back with them to the organization that was useful.
Great, and thank you so much, Mike, for doing this great presentation. And just to reiterate, I will be sending out the slides to everyone, so keep an eye out for that. And I apologize that I dropped off briefly earlier on, had some internet issues, so there might be a tiny bit missing in the recording. Sorry about that. But yes, thank you again to all of you for joining, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.